And we're live. Mikey and Vinnie once again on a wacky, weird Wednesday.
Yeah, I hesitated to use the word wacky this day because there just doesn't seem to be a lot wacky about it. It's again a serious Wednesday. Just let you know who we are in case we've never met before. He's Michael Knight. I'm New York Vinnie. We broadcast from Pasadena, California, and from Seattle. Me being north, he being south, and we're with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 o'clock. If you're back east, it's 1 o'clock. If you're in Spokane, it's I think 2:58 or something like that. Anyway,
It's easy to be confused today. We actually come on at 10:10, not 11.
yeah. Actually, yeah, we come on at 10:10. Sorry if I'm a little. I'm just a little thrown off the beat, and 10:10 or thereabouts. So that's who we are. We always love to know who you are. You can email us at Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com. And that can let us know who you are. And with that, what do you say we on with the show? This is it. It's a suck day, man. No way you get around. It's a suck day.
In such a beautiful neighborhood, in such an interesting city, for it to be happening in a upscale, wealthy neighborhood shouldn't surprise us. The fact that we'll probably learn more about this guy who apparently had a grudge against kids, schools, Catholicism, church, something to do with that, or something to do with all of that. It seems unlikely that that won't be a factor in what we learn about the shooter, who was doing everything perfectly today until he decided to shoot the kids before he shot himself. Had he only reconsidered that a moment and done himself in at home, it could have saved us all a lot of heartbreak and sorrow, a lot of the ugly thoughts that we're all entertaining today. As I was telling Vinnie, yesterday was back to school night at our grandchildren's school. So we were over at Stephen Kailani's house, playing with the kids, bringing treats, watching them come home from school. On the second day of class, they're doing their homework. They're talking about their teachers. They're talking about their kids, their friends, and all the things that they're experiencing as any family would with a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. And they were as innocent to this side of life, this element of existence, as they could be. As much as kids of that age are aware of these days, thanks to technology and media, they still don't have the ability to see this as something that's a danger in their lives. They're completely free of that. And so were the kids in this school today until some idiot with a real problem shooting through stained glass windows. I mean, that's just so symbolic. I don't even want to get into it.
It's
And for the mayor and the chief of police have to go before the microphones. As you know, Vinny, they talk about how horrible it is and how unthinkable it is and how ridiculous this form of life is. Why can't we stop it? Why can't we prevent it? Why can't we even take a step in the direction? But what's worse than that is that in 2 days it'll be forgotten. And the idea that anything will be done to correct or prevent this type of crime is the joke's on us once again. And don't tell me it's unthinkable when every parent in America this morning can think of it in detail and see it happening at their school. And imagine what it would be like to drive up where the parents have to collect their children and be reunited with the kids that made it. and what it's like to be notified that your kid didn't make it. You have to think about that if you're a parent every day, Monday through Friday, when you drop those kids off from school. You have a daughter, you know what it's like. You can envision the horror. You can envision the event, the school. You can see it in your mind. And
And you bring up such a good point about the symbolism of shooting through the stained glass windows. I mean, how many times when I was a young kid, and I went to Catholic school, how many times when I was a young kid, when I was, first grade, second grade, third grade, did you sit in church and you just looked at those windows as a distraction? You looked at those at those windows, and you knew who was in each panel, and you probably knew more about those panels than anything else that you were learning in school at the time. They were a source for your mind to latch onto and to wander when the church, which you didn't understand much of as of yet. I mean, in first grade, you kind of got a little bit of the basics, but the first day of first grade or second day of first grade, you don't have it all down yet, unless you were born in a monastery. So it's to you, it's almost like you're looking at a cartoon.
But for a kid, it's good inspiration. It takes them in the direction that the church wants them to go.
Well, and it opens up your thoughts to art. It opens up your thoughts to why are these different than the photographs that Daddy showed me of Grandma, or something like that. It kind of does open your mind. That there's different things out there. And again, I don't say that it's, but it's just a symbol of that, the thought of these kids, even daydreaming and wandering off for a couple of minutes because, a 6-year-old has the attention span of a gnat. I mean, boom, and then on to another, boom, and on to another. And to think that they're cut down, that all of a sudden this horrible event happens from that vision, from that thing that you're looking at. I mean, it just has to radically change your life. If you're lucky enough to survive, your life is never the same. You're looking at going into a church is never the same. Your thoughts of religion can never be the same. It just ruins your, just a whole, for many people, central part of their life.
That's why I think that when we learn about the shooter, I don't know if he wrote a manifesto or his online postings will reveal details of his personal life, his emotional life, but it seems impossible to believe that his actions today did not have something to do with church, school, and his feelings about that.
Yeah.
The two have to be motivators, as dark and as evil as they are.
Well, these are the kids that, and again, we don't know, we don't know anything about this, but it's easy to assume that these, somebody that does something like this is the kid who maybe in years gone by would get into a lot of fights, might turn to alcoholism, might do this, might do that. But now guns are so readily available. Guns are such an easy thing to get these days.
He had 3 of them.
What you could take out your frustrations easier than with a gun than you probably can with a bottle of alcohol, or beating somebody up or something like that. It's the accessibility of them that is a big part of the problem. And the people that leave them, even when they have access, leave them out for other people to gain access to. So I don't know. More will be revealed. I know that I feel a deeper sense of hurt with this one this morning than normally, and I see that you do too, because you're close to your your grandchildren yesterday.
Yeah, in that environment, the back to school environment, it was we babysit,
All of a sudden my Siri went off.
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something
Siri,
else I can
quiet.
help with?
Siri, go away.
Okay.
Try it now.
She had to have the last word.
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you said, Michael. You'll have to say it again. The Siri in this thing went off. I have to figure out how to turn it off. I don't need Siri in my life.
We were babysitting because it was back to school night. And the parents have to go to the homeroom, and to meet the teacher and talk about what the year is going to be like and what the children can expect and all those things. It's a good school that they go to. They like their teachers. They like their environment. They like their friends. It's all upper. It's all wonderful. It's all pluses. And the excitement of back to school is still with them. Their new clothes, their new books, their new teachers, their new classroom. It's the same, but it's new. Things have changed. You're with the big kids now. You're not in the kindergarten. You're moving up, and the expectations are positive and thrilling, fascinating. Now I know that not everybody loves school. Not everybody has a good experience in school. Not everybody wants to ever return to school, and somehow you have to believe that the shooter did not choose the school by accident. Not choose the Catholic environment by accident. These are things that we can assume were part of his less than successful upbringing. And that someone in that state of mind is able to travel freely through any neighborhood he wants in Minneapolis, carrying 3 loaded guns, looking for trouble, is what we're facing. How can you, under what scenario can the a community police itself, protect itself, prevent something like this from happening? Well, only if you can't restrict the mentally deficient. There's plenty of them around, but you can restrict their access to guns. And we've decided that we're not going to. Under pain of death, we will never restrict our access to guns. Because, as we all know, Vinnie, we're going to hear about it. I already heard it once today. This is not about guns.
Yeah, it's about mental illness. Yeah,
it ain't about guns.
It's well, and that would be all well and good that we have to. It's about mental illness, but how many times now are we hearing about mentally ill people? Oh, yes, he was mentally ill. He had a record. We responded to the house several times. We did this. We did that.
His mother called us and said he's going to be in trouble today.
And yet, the parents or the or the people in charge, or the people they're living with, the people they are staying with, the people that have some kind of responsibility for the person, is leaving their guns out. Oh yeah, just leave it on the table. Just leave my my automatic rifle on the in the living room closet.
The parents get accustomed to it. He's in his 20s now. He's always been disturbed. He's always been angry. He's always been a little off. He's always had problems of this topic. This is a catchphrase for him. Don't talk about religion with him. Don't mention school. And we think the guns would be a good hobby for him.
And I know in Michigan that they put that one kid's parents, the school shooter, his parents in jail. Yeah. And rightly so. And I think there's another one on trial. But we have to, I mean, what can you do to impress upon these people, that you can't leave your guns out? You can't, if you have guns, you have to lock them up. Or we're going to take them away from you because you're not being responsible. You see, that's it. Responsibility is the word that they never stick in there. They never use responsible. They never say responsible gun owners, and it has to be put in there. You can't leave it. How many times we see somebody leaves their gun in their car when they go someplace, in their glove compartment or under the seat or something like that because they have to have a gun with them. Well, if you do that and you don't have it in a lockbox, you don't have it in some kind of protection, and somebody
It's
breaks
just,
into your car, you just put another gun out on the street.
it's it's a bomb with the fuse burning.
And
It's just a matter of time.
the the fundamentalists, as Dave Ross used to call them, the fundamentalists don't want to hear anything about any kind of law that can restrict their access to guns.
They don't want to hear any report like the ones circulating today on national media. They don't want to hear about this shooting. Put it on page 16. Let's forget about it. Put it behind us. Thoughts and prayers. Next case.
Well, I think the mayor said it the best, I think. I was watching CBS News, and they had a woman on that was standing outside the school. I think she might have been like an aunt or some relation to one of the kids. The mayor said, we don't need your thoughts and prayers. These kids got killed while they were praying. They got injured while they were praying. And this woman said, we need you to do something about it. Do something.
Not going to happen.
And again, I just fear it'll fall on deaf ears. But I just can't imagine the pain, Michael, and how, because I know the pain I'm feeling just sitting here watching. And when we're done with the show, I'm going to turn it off because I'm affected by it. I'm feeling, probably unreasonably mad and unreasonably upset and unreasonably bothered by it because I don't even live in that city. I don't even have really a connection to that city. I favored the Twins in 1987 in the World Series over the Braves. I mean, that's the only connection I have to Minnesota. And I've driven through it a number of times. But it doesn't matter because it's a kid. And you look and you see these kids walking to school. You see these kids, I got a schoolyard 2-3 blocks down that I pass when I go to get coffee or I go to get a sandwich sometimes, and the kids are playing in school. And I look forward to that time when I see those kids. I look forward to that time when I have to slow down to 15 miles an hour.
School zone.
The school zone. I look forward to it because I love that sound of kids playing and that feeling you get when you look and you see the younger kids coming along and learning what they're learning. I have a friend that's a third grade teacher. And I talk to her and love to listen to her stories of the kids in her classroom because it's a great, I think she's picked a profession and she's coming closer to the end of it now. But she picked a profession teaching over rock and roll, and she was we both know her, and she was in the music business, and she got out of her. She said, I'm gonna do teaching. I want to feel like I did something in this world. And she's made less money than she could have made, being Bill Graham's secretary or something like that, or being a promotions coordinator or the various jobs, much less glamorous. But you know what? She gets an immense joy out of it. She gets an immense connection to something that frankly, I don't get a connection to. I did when my girl was young enough that she was going to school, and but and to imagine that there is some kind of human being that has the audacity, that has the unfeelingness, that has the nerve to cut somebody like that down in not even the prime of their life. not even in way before the prime of their life, when it's all chocolate, bunnies and jelly beans and Easter eggs and all of that kind of stuff. It's sickening. It's sickening, and it just shows again what a sick element lives in our society.
What we're really about.
You know,
We
how do
really
you
are.
wait?
We really are about destroying the Department of Education and defending killers of children.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's your wacky
I mean,
Wednesday.
yeah, that's your wacky Wednesday right there. I mean that'll help. That'll certainly help educate kids more. And if you got as worried about gun violence as you get about a perceived wrong, so many perceived wrongs that you have to put troops on the street of Washington D.C. Why not take that energy and put it toward legislation, put it toward things that will at least address this problem, try to fix this problem, put it toward mental health services, put it toward some kind of, I don't know, some kind of education, some kind of program that says to people, if you have a gun, lock it up. Now, again, I don't know that that's the case in this.
Education is frowned on, though, Vinnie, by the administration and the powers that be right now. They vote for ignorance. They vote for anti-science. They vote for anti-inoculation against COVID or any other disease. They vote for the speculative belief that doctors don't know what they're doing, that psychiatrists and heart specialists and orthopedic surgeons are people to be avoided. Don't trust them. Don't talk to them. Don't use them. Don't go to them. Robert Kennedy will tell you what to do. Stay at home. Drink a certain liquid. Hope that the snake oil that they've been hawking is going to protect you from the next round of trouble. And if mental health requires doctors and training, they don't want any part of that. They don't want to be part of the educated class. They want to be the ignorant naysayers who cling to their ignorance, who cling to the negative, who cling to the unproven, and have learned to somehow trust that over the achievements of the medical profession, the achievements of the psychiatric profession, the known danger from the gun lobby. All these things that stand so obvious to anyone watching the United States from another country our fallback position is already in place today surrounding the shooting. The conservative press has already got its talking points ready to go for the morning AM hate talk shows, just to prove that these dead children are not what you think they are. They're not symbolic and the result and the sum of our laws and our society and our sick feelings about guns and the protection that we afford them when we don't afford the same protections to our families and our schools and our public institutions and hospitals. We're clinging to the dark side of everything. We found it, and Americans have learned now to enjoy the ignorance that comes with it, and they embrace it.
Yeah, it's I don't know what I don't know that we're gonna be able to do anything about it. I hope that I pray someday. Speaking about praying, I pray for this country, and I pray that someday this country, the people in it, will find the wisdom to address this problem. I hope they do it before I step off the mortal coil here, but I hope someday in the future that somehow this this disease that has hit this country, other countries to a certain degree, but nothing like it has here. That this disease that has hit this country will show itself, and we'll be able to battle it. Have the guts to battle it. We don't seem to, as Americans, to have the guts to battle anything anymore. You know, we can't. We couldn't battle COVID. You know, it took 2 million lives. We can't battle the gun violence problem in this country because we don't want to admit that guns are the problem.
We won't even address it.
If you can't stand up and know your problems and face your problems, what do you got?
You got more problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope that the kids that are coming up behind us, the people that are coming up behind us will be smarter than we were. We thought we were smarter than our father's generation.
Well, the chance of that happening is the odds are against them if there's no Department of Education.
Yeah, well, that's the, you know, if you keep them uneducated, you know, just like if you keep them barefoot, you keep them pregnant, you can keep them in the kitchen.
They'll vote for you.
They'll do what they'll do what you want. They'll be, you know, if you promise to starve somebody, they become amazingly docile. So, you know, and it's funny because I was so enthusiastic this morning. I was so up, you know, that you know, there was a spectacular win last night for the Mets that felt like it was a postseason game. You know, it had all the trappings, all of the air of you know, one of those games that you sit down and, you know, get your hot chocolate, you know, and you're sitting in the ballpark, or your hot brandy drink or something, and you're sitting there and you're bundled up and you're ready to go. It had all of that. You know, back and forth game, you know, pitchers that failed and pitchers that you didn't expect to do something great did something great. And I'm talking about the Mets and the Phillies last night for a second. But it had all of that. And it was the kind of game that you get high off of. You know, you watch it and you stop watching that game. When that game's over, you're pumping your fists and you're enthusiastic. You think that nothing can stop your team right now.
Here we go.
This is it. You know, this is what we've been waiting for. This is that game that we've been waiting for. This is the time that we've been waiting for. And all of that is stripped away. And I know that, listen, I know there's a lot of people. Well, you know, it's not my kid. It's not my, you know, it's just you can't think about it. You can't worry about it. But you have to think about it. You have to worry about it. You have to be aware that something can be done. That there's not nothing we can do about it. That there is something we can do much, much more than hopes and prayers.
Remember the Texas sheriff who said nothing can be done.
Well, that's a whole different, you know, that, you know, whenever they say that they want to leave the union, I see you.
Yeah. But wouldn't want to be you.
Yeah, we can move that. We can move that border wall a couple of 100 miles north. No problem.
You can pull that off.
Take the Panhandle. Take Oklahoma with you. Doesn't bother me. I'm
Oklahoma now giving special tests to teachers moving into Oklahoma to teach who are from certain liberal states. So if you're from California, for instance, they give you a test that you have to pass. It has to, you have to answer the questions correctly, or else you can't teach in Oklahoma. And the inference is no liberal, crazy, anti-gun people are welcome here in our schools. The idea that you're of the belief that children should not be shot dead in their schools, well, that just stands in stark opposition to how we feel about it here in Oklahoma. We think that if you want to kill children in the schools, you should have 3 guns so you can do it. 4, maybe, if you need them. And if you can't buy them yourself, maybe you can borrow them from someone in your family when you do your shooting. But get that shooting done and don't let anything stand in the way of your right to mow down innocent children.
well, I got that. What do you call it? That store that's I don't know. Years ago, I forget, Stinky's Rent a Gun. When it says why buy when you can just rent. You know, you can just go down to Stinky's Rent a Gun in the morning and pick up your gun, shoot, do your damage, and then come back.
Stinky's is ready to make it. Stinky's is ready to make a deal. This gun has already been used in 3 successful shootings. Stinky says if you have a shooting in mind, this is one that's proven itself. Doesn't jam. It's ready to go.
It's oiled and ready to go. And if you I don't know how you would set it up, but if you if you I don't know if you shoot 100 people, you get 100 green stamps. It's ridiculous.
Stinkies will tweak your gun if you think that the sight is off. Stinkies will set it for you before you go to your shooting. What are you shooting today? Raccoons or kids? Well, children mostly, but if there's any raccoons available, I got them. Well, let me set that sight for you. It's free.
It's amazing. They're just. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, 23-year-old from suburban Minneapolis. They say his name here. I'm not going to say it. But
are we dealing with an angry white guy?
It appears so. Well, somebody had said that it was a white male on one of the CBS coverage I was listening to. They said it was a white male. And anyway, it's yeah. So we'll hopefully hold the moment of silence everywhere for these kids, and we'll talk about it. And
as long as after the moment of silence we can put this behind us, we all agree on that. Let's just put this behind us. There's nothing we can do. Nothing can be done. Nothing will be done. So it'd be better to discuss something else, like Mike Johnson or Donald Trump. Get to the bottom of the Epstein files. That's what we'll do. That's just what we'll do today.
Well, this is exactly the thing that yeah. I just, I pray for these children. I pray for the ones that are hurt, that are in the hospital. What must it be like to be a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old kid? And 1 minute you were praying, and the next minute you're lying in a pool of blood. And now the next minute you're in the hospital emergency room and you got people yelling this and that and give me this and give me that. And some nurse is probably talking to you. Your parents might not even be there yet. Because they had to come in from work, or they had to do this, they had to do that. I mean, I think it's probably as scared as you can get as a kid. I don't think it gets any scarier than that. So, yeah, it's just these are the times you wish you could take phone calls on this thing, because you I remember when I used to do Cairo. When we'd have something like this, we'd open up the phones and we'd let people talk about it, and it did the community as a whole, I think, a service, because you had people that in their grief and in their frustration at least had somewhere to go and pick up a phone and talk to somebody.
Yes.
And they weren't, you don't have that outlet now. I mean, you hear us talk about it, and yeah, that's great. And I'm sure if you turn on Cairo or one of the other news talk stations, there'll be two guys bloviating on much the same as we're doing. But nobody gives you the opportunity to talk to them anymore, to grieve with your audience, to be a part of it, to let them be a part of you. Days like today are exactly what's wrong with radio. They want to know why it's not working right anymore. Here's your prime example. I feel bad. I wish, I'm working on a way to try to get it so we can take phone calls and, in events like this, but it's expensive.
When did the idea of not letting the calls on the air take over? Because it took a talk radio. You would think it was a secret society because somebody makes up their mind about something and changes one element of the broadcast and the format, and everybody follows along the next day as if it was etched in stone, and they were being paid based on the fact that they changed this element of their broadcast. When we first got into sports talk, we had fans on the air all the time. Anybody could call in and get on the air, and they did. We had guests, we had topics, we had different elements of the show, but I don't recall the program director ever coming to me and say, "Don't take calls."
No, as a matter of fact, our program director, our first one in Seattle, was quite opposite. He was of the mind that your calls were your records.
Rick Scott?
No, Tom Lee. His, or at least he was my first program director. You were there for Rick Scott, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't there. I got there after Rick Scott. But his philosophy was, and I always thought he was right, is that your callers are your records, and you don't have a hit every time, but you sometimes you have some one-hit wonders, But that at least you're putting them on, you're playing them, and you try to make them entertaining. It's your job is to make them into personalities. If you have a live one, to recognize it. And that's how you got the different people, that weren't on the air. And, that's why Pittsburgh was so unbelievable, because we had, Pittsburgh is a city of rabid sport fans that have personality. And you would get people on the station that had. Now we had them here too. I mean, we had a bunch of different people that were great callers. But it was the everyday caller that the guy just picked up his phone and contributed his minutes worth of what it was that eased that pain. Not just in sports, but in just regular talk too, where you remember I did the overnight shift for a while on Cairo, and we developed an interesting crew of people that would call. It was almost like it wasn't a secret society, like you said, but I remember the night that the Alaska plane crashed. That was coming from L.A. up to Seattle. And I remember just, going on the air. I went on the air at 1 o'clock, and I was on from 1 to 5:30, or 1 to 5:30. And people just wanted to talk. People just wanted to and and your job was to listen, to offer condolence, to offer, but most of all, listen to them. There's a profound sadness. This is most of these people away on this plane. We're heading home. We're coming up here. And that's what I feel this morning. I feel like you want to reach out to the community, and I guess we are in our own way, but I don't know. I felt the need to throw that in for some reason. That
you're looking to employ that element in what we do, and I understand why you would miss it and think that the time has come to return to it as an element of a well-rounded, likable, listenable broadcast.
Well, we're therapists, Michael. I mean, really, when you think about it, when events happen, we are instant therapy. Now that seems a bit strange, but we are.
Well, what do you do about the hate talk formats that are all right now across the nation saying this had nothing to do with guns? That this was simply the result of a liberal lifestyle? That the lack of mental health screening allowed this guy to slip through the cracks. And the fact that he had 3 guns is simply a coincidence.
Well, right now, this morning, I would just be opening up to. I wouldn't worry about the crackpots. On a morning like this, I would just try to give people a place to talk, a place to vent. The nut jobs are going to be there. And, to be honest with you, they got as much right to be there as we do. I wish that there was some mechanism that could pick them off when they're lying. But again, the hate talk caller doesn't want to hear your opinion, doesn't want to hear what you've got to say. They want you to validate what they feel. They want you to say, "Oh yes, you're right, Herbie." Oh yeah.
This we've given it some thought. We've run it by our experts, and they say that guns are not involved in this incident whatsoever.
Right. It's amazing. It really is. You can go ahead and go ahead and just be guns didn't cause. He didn't shoot anybody with a gun. He minded them. He psychologically shot them. But that's the kind of that's the kind of. But there's no guardrails on it. So we talk about it in a sensible format like sports talk. The reality is I guess you're right. I guess in some ways you couldn't let, there's certain people you couldn't let on the air, but that's the job of a producer. But the idea is, I guess, is that they don't want you to not let those callers on the air because the sicker they are, the more people listen for them, right?
Right.
The sicker they are, and that's the crazy thing about it.
People think I'm wrong-headed about this, but I think I've got it figured out.
Yeah,
I got it all figured out.
Yeah, there's no talking to them. There's no lot. You can't sit there and talk to them and say, well, if you really think like that, and if you think like this, you can't put sense into a crazy man's head. When you've been infected by some of these guys or women, it's a mentality, and people want to hear more of what they believe because they think that's right. And they want to feel validated, especially by a guy on the radio
I think that slapping India with a 50% tariff is the complete, total, logical, and perfect solution to an argument between President Slapdick and the president of India, who didn't want to play ball, didn't want to play with Trump.
Unless you're in the sorry business, I guess it's not a bad thing, right?
Well, and since food imports, material imports for Madras shirts, electronics, all the exchange we have with India with call centers and tech support, we are, as much as with any nation, tied strongly to them and their huge population and their huge ability to manufacture and innovate. Remember, Apple decided that if they're going to have trouble with China in terms of putting together Apple phones in a third country, that their solution was not to bring it to the United States and create these manufacturing jobs that Trump was talking about. They moved their operations to India and have already done that. They've already taken that step. They've made the relationship stronger through what we expect from them in terms of manufacturing support for many of our products. And then for the president to just say, well, I'm going to change the price structure of all that. Watch me. And I'm doing it out of, they're pissed at me. I'm pissed at them. I'll show them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's just, again, this whole thing with the tariffs and everything just goes to show that he or the people that work for him
ignorant
don't have much of a clue.
Them as a mud fence.
But it's almost, it's almost laughable that this guy is making economic policy. A guy who's bankrupted businesses, a guy who doesn't pay his bills, it's laughable that he's making economic policy, but he is. He's the president. He's doing what he can do, and he's got the courts whipped into a frenzy, and his followers whipped into a frenzy that they think it's right. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's right or it's wrong.
Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do, Vinnie. Because anybody with a 6th grade education can see that.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, here's what I don't know. I don't know if it will produce the result that he's saying. It doesn't seem like it's gonna. It doesn't seem like he's gonna. But it does. It just doesn't. What am I trying to say? Now my mind's got me. It just doesn't seem like he has a bunch of intelligent people around him that make me feel confident that he is going to produce the right result.
No,
That's what
he's got yes men jokers and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
When Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the guy that's in charge of the vaccination program, and I read this morning that they're already tightening up and dropping the vaccination research, and they're dropping. There's no way that can have a good result.
No way.
There's no way that they can have a good result. When they are taxing countries that are friendly to us 50%, when they've alienated our friendliest neighbor in the world, Canada, and made them put signs up that say, screw the USA near the border, that can't have a good result.
That's not what he was after. He was looking for a complete capitulation. Yeah, we'd love to be the 51st state. Take us.
Yeah. When you look at cutting FEMA by 50%, and then the people that work for the agency saying, we're in trouble here. If something happens, we're going to have a problem. And so what does he do? He doesn't call in people and say, well, what's the problem? Can we fix it? Can we make it better? No, he turns around and he fires the people.
For belly aching.
for not kowtowing and kissing his ass and saying that, oh, Trump is great. Do you ever, I noticed something. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed it too. Every time that one of his officials come up and say something, whether it's good or whether it's bad, they always have to start with what?
Our wonderful president.
Our wonderful President Trump, our leader,
Dear
is
Führer.
the substitute for the sign of the cross. You may as well just be doing this, because our wonderful leader has made this possible. When the transportation secretary yesterday went on to talk about this situation that exists with commercial driver's licenses and people that don't speak English getting them. The first thing he said in the press, and I agreed with almost everything the guy said, but the first thing he said was through the auspices of our wonderful President Donald J. Trump. They always use that middle. That's how you can tell it's scripted for them, because
So
they always use that middle, the J.
For some people, there's a lot of Trumps, and they keep a list of Trump family involvement, who you're married to, and what's really wrong with Eric, and consequently,
Nobody knows. They've taken him to clinics, and nobody can figure it out.
they haven't been able to treat it successfully, but there's still hope that he'll turn around.
They've tried a salve. They've tried injections. They've tried creams. They've tried.
I was there when they were trying the injections. It was ugly. It was not reassuring at all.
They couldn't find an arm, never mind a vein.
I would say, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., if you can fix Eric, you can keep your job.
They're cutting back on the vaccines. They're saying,
you're not going to be able to get the vaccine.
We didn't have enough people that died.
We can catch up, though.
Yeah, 2022. We just didn't have enough people that checked out. Maybe we'll get lucky. We can go back to that. Remember, the roads were clear. You could drive from Pasadena to downtown LA in 5 minutes.
Yep. It's any speed you want.
Yep.
No one in front of you.
There's no highway patrol guy getting out of a car to write you a ticket. Screw you. Let him fire me.
It's been an ugly day. I would suggest that we convene on a fractious Freaky Friday and see if we can improve upon this.
Yeah, I am going to be on the road Friday.
Where are you going, Vinnie?
A road trip on Friday, and I'm heading, guess what, your way. So I will get in touch with you about my schedule and stuff like that, or we should probably talk. I'll tell you what, hang on a second. Folks, thank you so much for listening to the show. Maybe Michael will see you Friday, I don't know. But say a prayer for these people in Minnesota. They're going to need it. They need but most of all, they need us to get off of our asses and do something about this sickness, this nationwide sickness and lethargy about doing anything about it, that killed a couple of kids today and injured a whole lot more. I don't want to feel like this many days.
It's up to us to fix it. Up to us to stop it and to fix it.
Fix it. Let's not pray. Prayers obviously aren't working. These people were praying when they were killed or injured. So let's try something different. Okay, you all. We'll see you. I'll see you Monday if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise, and peace.
Maybe
love.
Friday.
Yeah.
You think maybe we'll have a show on Friday?
Yeah,
or not?
maybe we will. Don't go anywhere, Michael. Thank you all for listening. We're going to end the stream here like this.